apparently one Earth is not going to, they're not going to have contact. They're not even going to be aware of each other, the one Earth and the other Earth. Yeah, apparently. So when you shift to this higher density, everything becomes closer to source energy, because obviously the higher you move through the densities, the closer you are towards source energy, love and light, unconditional love and all that. So you don't need to have a body anymore, so you have the choice whether you want to keep a body or not. Mind you, our existence is such that we move through bodies anyways, so it's not a big deal for us. It's not a huge transition, but it's huge in the sense that apparently this has never happened on this scale before, ever in the progression of all that is. So this is why all these beings have returned to watch us essentially and cheer us on as we make this transition. So as this transition is happening, the Earth is raising its vibration, everything on the Earth is raising its vibration, including humans. So this is what's been happening to me, and I've had some of these symptoms that have been unexplainable but are part of this transition period. So during the 2012, I mean, you could shift any time you want. It's simply a matter of raising your vibration. And
is there anything you can do to raise your vibration?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Is feel good. That's very simply put. Be happy. When you're in that zone, so to speak, of being happy, blissful, elated, being loving, caring, all that, that's higher vibration. That's closer to what we are as source energy. And all this other stuff is simply just a creative process of what we're able to create for ourselves and experience.
When you look around, do you see the shift occurring, as in you can look at someone and go, okay, they're moving this way, and someone else there?
Everybody has their own experience, and everybody's perspectives are different. That's key to note. So my perspectives are probably not your perspectives, it's somebody else's perspectives. I've been more accustomed to feeling many things, so when you look at somebody, people see, when they look at somebody, they see their physicality, and then all of a sudden they form opinions of them, or judgments or whatever. They have observations of the person, but they never actually feel what the person is giving off. Now that's a byproduct of kind of like this existence that we have being cut off from these other abilities that we have, which is all fine. It's part of the progression as well. But when I see things now, I have such a strong feeling behind them, every single thing that I see. And it's generally a very, very positive feeling. So even though I don't like to use those words positive and negative, I'm going to say it's extremely positive, very loving feeling. So that's why, since I've had that experience on October 15th that I told you about, I've been extremely happy all the time. Now, it's hard to tell people about that because it's difficult to understand how you could possibly be happy all the time. But I can tell you, you can be happy all the time, and it's all perspective.
So, and I liked in your story about the mermaid saying, "Oh, I'm just letting them," and she smiles, you know, allowing them to treat her the way they were, and she was in complete acceptance, happiness, bliss. Right? Yeah,
it's key to be in that zone, because once you have the bigger perspective, so to speak. Now, I've been studying the whole concept of exopolitics, metaphysics for about 3.5 years now, so I've read so many things, and I've watched so many things, and I've listened to people, I've talked to people face to face, and shared experiences and many things, and it's very clear to me that that everybody's perspectives are different, but everybody has the ability to see the bigger picture. It's just whether they want to see the bigger picture or not. So while I was, very interested, and I still am, obviously, in these subjects, it's increasing my scope. And as you increase, you're able to see more of the picture. It's almost like the television show Lost. If you ever follow that show, from the season 1 to the last season, it just bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, until eventually they had no clue where they were going, and they just stopped the show. But yeah, it's difficult. And while I was and these books were given to me in an order such that I was able to take them. So when I first started off in exopolitics, the first book I ever read on the subject was the classic 1987 Whitley Strieber book, Communion. And that book was a huge turning point in my life, such that I've never felt that much fear ever in my life until I started remembering what happened when I saw the movie Fire in the Sky when I was younger. That irrational fear of aliens. So I had to feel that in order to understand it. So without experience, you can't really understand something. And that's what these beings have been telling me all along. So I had to feel that in order to understand it so I can move past that. And fear has been one of the biggest things that have been holding me back for a long time. From opening up to people, for example, from talking about some of these subjects, from the experiences I've had. So it's getting past that first stepping stone. And I've had other books that were, you know, big parts of my life as well. But every little chunk is the next piece to the puzzle. And I'm not going to say that you can absolutely take the book for what it's worth, because you need to integrate that information to your daily life, obviously. But at the same time, you can't believe everything that you read. And that's key. So you need to take the information for what it is, and then ask yourself whether that information is true for yourself or not. And that takes a lot of soul searching, if you want to call it that.
And with the information that you've been gifted or that you've accumulated, is it solely for your own personal growth, or do you have plans to share it with the world to help others? Or
I definitely do have plans to do that. Whether it's on a grand scale or on a smaller scale doesn't matter, because I do think that it's the biggest part is my experience for it, because I've had this life for a purpose, and I need to experience what I need to experience in this life because it's unique, and that unique experience is going to increase my perspective as my source energy, if you want to call it that, my higher self. So I'm able to learn more in this life, and I need to gain this unique perspective in order to do that.
And will you touch a little bit on, you were mentioning about your healing time, and that, you know, you used to have illness and now you understand what illness is.
Yeah, so I mean, my entire life has been almost, I'm going to say almost, streamlined toward the medical field. I actually wanted to be a lawyer for a long time, until high school, when I had an experience, coincidental experience, or synchronous experience, whatever you want to call it, where I made a complete shift towards the science medical field. So because I completed my undergraduate in health science and then my master's in medical science, I've been in the hospital, you know, half of my life it seems, and I've been around physicians and researchers and many people in the medical field. And I've kind of gained a lot more perspective on what it has become rather than what it's meant to do. So, and all of this comes back to exopolitics as well. Because of the way the organizations have been controlling the population, it was such that we were able to create what we have now. And because we're essentially reaping the rewards of what we've created. So the medical field has become very institutionalized, very industrialized. That's key, because everything runs on money these days. And if it wasn't for everybody believing that it's running like that, then it wouldn't be like that. But because everybody has accepted this reality, there's nothing wrong if you accept reality, because reality is what it is to everybody else. It's just that we have the ability to change things, but there are certain people that want to keep us from making that realization. And until, I mean, there's no stopping it now, which is what this whole higher vibrationist thing is all about. People are slowly starting to wake up. They're slowly starting to make the realization that they actually are source energy and have the ability to do pretty much anything.